In the past 2 weeks, I talked about the prolonged grief disorder, what it is and how we work with it. And today I would like to just give you a few more examples of how we can help someone who's suffering from this condition using specifically the imaginary rescripting. So first of all, in situation when someone's coming to the therapy and wants to work on a grief and is actually start maybe feeling better and maybe they starting to move on, maybe they started to have new hobbies, maybe they're meeting new people, and that then in turn triggers guilt in them. That might then prevent them from actually progressing in therapy. So in situations like that, we can help the person to engage in imaginary conversation with the person that they've lost. So in the imagination, the person will have to think about the place where maybe they normally would meet to have conversations like that, or maybe they could go to the place where they would have those sort of conversations. And then they could tell them about how their life looks without them being there around, what they are feeling, whether maybe they start feeling guilty because they are in therapy and they trying to move on in their life. Maybe they would have to tell them about the fact that they feel that maybe they haven't done enough to save them. In addition to that, the person could actually ask the other person that they've lost about advice. You know, what should I do now? Is it actually all right for me to move on? Is it actually all right for me to feel happy, to have these new hobbies without you being there? And then there will be a chance as well to say goodbye. And even we could schedule a time in a week when we're going to have another conversation with a person. And only in situations when we know that the person that we're working with and the person that they've lost, they maybe haven't had that caring and maybe loving, compassionate relationship. So maybe the relationship was there was a lot of maybe criticism. That's when we wouldn't encourage it. Because again, then we wouldn't really receive that compassionate feedback that we're hoping for. Another example where we would encourage the imaginary rescripting, it is in situations when someone actually witnessed someone dying and suffering a lot. And it could be someone who's really close to us, or it could be even a stranger, but that actually can leave us with really traumatic images, nightmares and flashbacks. And in situations like that, we would actually encourage the person to tell us about what is their imagination of hereafter. And very often people that actually have quite positive images of perceptions of what hereafter is. And so they would tell us that, yeah, I'm sure now they're in peaceful place where they don't suffer, where there's happiness. So we would encourage the person to give us as much as possible. So we would even ask them to tell us what they can smell there, what they can hear there. So the more senses we can involve in this image, the better it is. Another example when we would encourage the imaginary rescripting, it is in situations where maybe someone was actually unable to say the last goodbye to the person, or maybe they were unable to attend the funeral. In situations like this, we could then encourage the person to have that last conversation with the person, or maybe we could encourage them even to do some symbolic acts. So maybe someone going and visiting the grave, and that would be a symbol maybe of them attending the funeral. And maybe then while they're standing there, they will have that prepared image of, you know, of the funeral and them being involved in a funeral. Another example when we can use the imaginary rescripting, it is in situation when maybe someone's last interaction with the person wasn't actually that positive. Maybe it was a huge argument. And again, the same principle will follow here. So we will work with the imagination. So we will try imagine the last conversation that the person would like to have with them. So I guess that would be much more positive. So again, we can here encourage the person to create this new image of them having actually a normal conversation with the person, conversation that perhaps also will include them saying actually goodbye to them. Another example when we can use the imaginary rescripting, it is in situations when someone, for instance, has these very disturbing images of the person that they've lost as them being very deteriorated, maybe because of some long-term illnesses that they suffered just before they died. So then we would actually encourage the person to tell us about the image of the person before they got ill. So when they were still healthy and happy and full of life. And then we will work with this image throughout the sessions when we talk about certain issues. And that will be it for today. And if you enjoyed this video, then please like it, subscribe, and I'm gonna see you in the next one then. Thank you. Bye bye.